yeah, you can ride our bikes. So that was like, yeah, okay, let's do that.
Nice.
That's a bike I want to ride. And a week later, I had the frame there and got
That's
it built
cool.
up.
Let's talk a bit about the change in program. So you were on Da Vinci for a while, up until the end of 2023. At what point did you know that wasn't going to be the case for 2024? Like, when did you find out you were going to be looking elsewhere?
Pretty early on. Like, I think we could see the signs that Da Vinci were kind of changing their direction in terms of the bikes they were producing and selling and the markets they were focusing on. And then I think around June last year, we were told the team wouldn't continue. So pretty early on, but it was kind of at the same time people were realizing that the bike industry wasn't doing so well.
Yeah.
And enduro was probably going to take the brunt of that.
Yeah,
so
the bubble burst a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So at first it was kind of reaching out to teams and brands that I wanted to ride for, and it was kind of starting to realize like, this isn't the usual year of negotiating.
Yeah.
So then it kind of put things in perspective for me a lot. And, I haven't had a tough few years and a couple of years where I was kind of finishing races feeling I hadn't given my best and not leaving super proud of my performance.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, right, what's my priority
for
next year? And it was to finish this season proud of my results and in a position where like I'm racing at my best, or at least I have the tools to race at my best.
Yeah.
So I kind of narrowed it down to a few teams that like, yes, I would like to ride for these teams. And they would get the best out of me.
And is that based on like looking at bikes and kit that those teams have? Is it based on looking at the team kind of infrastructure or the team vibe? Like, what was attracting you to certain areas?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of both.
Okay.
So the bike is obviously a massive part of it. It needs to be a bike that works well, and then the people around, the infrastructure around.
Yeah.
Who your teammates would be, because obviously you want someone that you're gonna vibe with and work well with, which to be fair is kind of most people in enduro. I don't think there's anyone that would have a red flag.
Yeah, it seems a good crew.
Yeah. So I reached out to a few teams, and then that wasn't working out because they were sorted really.
Yeah.
So then I kind of realized like, right, what do I need to do well?
Was there ever a thought of like, maybe this is it? Did you ever have that, or were you just like, well, I'm going to make this work, whatever?
Yeah, and that was interesting because I got like pretty deep through the off season before I realized that didn't happen.
Okay.
And I was kind of, because then it was always just building towards whatever's next.
Yeah.
And it would have been an easy time to say, I'm done.
Yeah.
I've had a good run, but no, it never crossed my mind, to be honest.
That's cool.
Yeah, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I'll keep going for a while.
Good.
But so I kind of figured out what do I need, and step one of that is a good bike. I need a mechanic around me and good people around me.
Yeah.
And they're the kind of the main pieces of the puzzle, because the interesting thing with enduro, like with downhill now, we see, you look at track walk photos and there's 20 people on a team. Like it's crazy.
It's insane.
Whereas enduro, it's quite different because like on a practice day, we're out on the bike all day. We're not in the pits.
Yeah.
So even if you have a massive team, you're not really with them.
Yeah.
And while it does help, it's not everything. So, the riders are a lot more kind of independent, I would say.
Yeah, self-sufficient up to a point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And even a lot of the planning that goes into a race week, in a lot of teams, it would be the rider that does it anyway, because we're the ones that understand the course and the practice schedules and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So, I think I'd kind of already been maybe steering the ship a bit.
Yeah.
With teams I've been on before. So to now say like, okay, I'll just take everything else on my shoulders a bit. It was a lot more, but not as
not
big a step as it could have been.
And you've done the privateer thing, you've done the van life version, so you've experienced it at all levels. I guess you know what it takes.
Yeah, exactly. And even just being around racing so long, like I know what I need, and I know what happens in a race week and needs to happen in a race week. So it's pretty quick. You can make a checklist that you need to go through.
Yeah.
So So once I established kind of what I needed, I kind of looked around, see what bikes are on the market, what bikes I want to ride, and kind of came to 3 or 4 bikes. And I reached out to the guys at Ibis, and because they were on that list obviously, and straight away Tom, the president, who I've kind of spoken to a few times over the years, whenever contracts come up, but it's never lined up. And he was straight away just super honest and just like, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
He from the outset was like, we're not going to build a team around you or anything like that, but you can ride our bikes. So that was like, okay, let's do that.
Nice.
That's a bike I want to ride. And a week later, I had the frame there and got
That's
it built
cool.
up. So
When was that? Like how early?
that it was quite late.
Okay.
Things had ran on quite a lot, so that like I got the bike. I think the first ride was actually like the 1st of January.
Oh wow. Okay. Fair
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And gelled straight away.
yeah, yeah. Like the first run, I've got a couple of clips from like my first run on the bike.
Yeah.
and it's like it was at home. I
Nice.
just felt at home. Like it's just it's an easy bike to ride. It's an easy platform to ride.
Yeah.
You know, when you're braking, not braking, the bike doesn't behave too different. So it's just the kind of bike you can just jump on and ride. And I think it's that platform, like the DW Link, like even the e-bike is the same. It's DW Link. And
Yeah.
I raced it last weekend, but I'd only ridden it 4 or 5 times before that.
No way.
And I'm not someone who really rides an e-bike that often,
Yeah.
at least in years past. Now in France, it's a bit more attractive.
Yeah.
But, you know, all I did on that bike was set the sag and then went and raced it and managed to get 5th. So, like, I think that's a testament to just how rideable that platform is.
And does it feel similar, other than the weight, to your race bike? Like with
Yeah.
the same, you know, with the DW Link and everything. I guess the kinematic is to some extent similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Was it a relief then when you finally swung a leg over that and were like, good, this thing is fast. We're all right.
Yeah, it really was. Because obviously it's such a gamble I'd taken on myself to do this.
Yeah.
And you wanted to pay off, and it was kind of jumping on there. Like, yeah, you would know pretty quickly, like, right, maybe I'm off, or
Yeah.
you get on a good bike and it's like, right, okay, no, I can still ride a
We're
bike. good.
cooking. Yeah. What about the rest of the setup then? Because you got a number of other brands like helping out.
Yeah. So Rockstock suspension. So that was one I tested in the off season, and straight away loved it as well. Easy to set up.
Yeah. Were you on Fox before with Da Vinci?
Yeah, I've been on
Yeah.
Fox. I was on Fox most of my career. Really.
Yeah. Okay. So another big change, right? Because
Yeah, it was a big change.
they
Yeah.
all do the same thing, but in different ways, and
Yeah,
like the adjustment
exactly.
doesn't work quite the same, and
Yeah.
it takes a bit of learning.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, again, the Rockstocks, it's a lot easier to set up, and yeah, I think the attraction for me was just that small bump sensitivity that it has.
Yeah.
Which for me is quite important. So
What's your grip, I guess, to an extent, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. So that was good. Hayes brakes, kept them. SCG saddles, wolf tooth components on kind of a lot of the finishing kit, which was really cool. Once
Yeah.
contacted them, they were super keen to be part of
Nice.
the whole thing, which is really nice. And that's something that's been cool, is that dealing with the sponsors myself now, you kind of you see how keen they are to help and to be a part of it, and you kind of build that relationship with them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're on a team, the riders don't often get that.
Yeah, you don't have that direct connection. I guess it
Yeah.
shows you're doing something right, huh? If you ring up a brand and be like, "Hey, I'd like to use your stuff," and they're keen, that's a good sign that you're promoting yourself well, and that you're a character they want to associate with.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good reassurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Silt Wheels, which is cool. It's an Irish brand.
Nice.
Yeah, which is class. It's really good.
In carbon or alloy?
Alloy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never gone over to the carbon wheels. Just
Okay. Have you ridden them? Tried them?
not really. Not on
Okay.
an enduro bike.
Yeah.
Only ever on small travel bikes. But I've just seen a few races be ended by carbon wheels, so it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Fair.
And I like a compliant wheel, and that's kind of what alloy gives you. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see a reason to change, to be honest.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. Yeah, Conti tires, which is one like I just started out buying them, just to try, because everyone was raving about them.
Yeah.
So I bought a few in the off season to try, and they were brilliant, really good, especially at home in kind of the softer conditions. They were really digging in nice.
Yeah.
So I was prepared to just buy them for the year, and then they kind of were happy to help out. So that's worked out well.
Amazing.
Obviously, tires is a big expense.
Yeah, they are these days.
Yeah,
And you
but-
guys get through them as well.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. So, but there's a lot of work to put that together, and that comes with stress. And stress, whether that's training stress or life stress, it can only take so much. So, did it like take away from your training in any way? Do you think this winter?
At the start, yeah, for sure. I was quite fortunate that it was a late start to the season, so I kind of gave myself until Christmas, New Year to really put a lot of time into this, and then I was kind of like, right, whatever it is at that point, we'll just crack on with it.
Yeah.
Because it was full on, a lot of stress, and like at first I was trying to build it as a team with 3 riders.
Okay.
But yeah, it was quite apparent that budgets weren't going to stretch to that, and it was putting a lot of pressure on me to be accountable for other riders as well.
Would you have been like team manager then in that case?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it would have been the same as it is now, just with a couple of riders as well. But yeah, that was a lot of pressure. And then once I kind of realized that was going to be money out of my pocket to pay other riders,
Yeah.
which I wasn't really in a position to do. I kind of knocked that on the head, and then that lifted a massive weight. And then, yeah, that was around Christmas time. So I kind of had enough of a package together at that point to be like, right, let's crack on with this. And I can kind of flip my focus now into training.
Yeah,
so
that's
then
cool.
we really got stuck into training from then on.
Could you see yourself being a team manager at some point in the future then? Like, was that something that you just felt you were going to do because your hand had been forced a bit? Or do you have a bit of a desire maybe one day?
Yeah, definitely. Like, my goal with this would be to build it into a proper team.
Yeah.
And, maybe after racing could be a team manager, because I love racing, and it's something I think at this point I know quite a bit about. And, even as a racer, I still quite like to help other riders, or like give a bit of advice here and there where I can. So it'd be really cool to use that knowledge after racing.
Yeah.
To help others. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, hopefully it can build.
Yeah, nice.